So we will now start with our webinar. Hello again. So my name is Julian Sanderman. I'm located in Germany and I'm a solutions advisor for Boyum IT. And today we will take a look at the maintenance module of Beas and how to set it up, how it can help you, and what's the benefits of it. So this webinar, it's part of an webinar series. So today we are at the 5th webinar. We will have another additional to the project management and also the usability extension with Beas. So feel free to join also on the other 2 webinars. So for the maintenance, it's not the maintenance only of the resources, it's also maintenance of tools, of customer equipment, of serial numbers. So we have a lot of functions there. We separate it by internal maintenance and also with external maintenance. So what we can do there, we can have regular inspections or preventive inspections. And of course, we also have the option to automatically create work orders and also to have bill of materials, items, routings created with these work orders. So it makes it easier to automate the whole process. For example, if you automatically create a work order, it will also create a need of the material. And of course, you will see it in your MRP one, and then the purchase department can create a purchase order for it. And of course, you can also plan it. So maybe if the interruption is not a perfect fit because the maintenance guy is not there or you have an urgent delivery, you can reschedule the inspection. So the next screen is just a little overview, and we will also take a look at this at our system now. Like mentioned before, we can have different scenarios with different maintenance plans. We can also reschedule maintenance orders. It can also be scheduled ahead of the time if we have the time right now. And of course, there's a history. So we have the full traceability, what was done at which maintenance order, and so on. So let's now take a look at the system. So in the background, we see the dashboard that is included in the B1 app. So this is just the standard maintenance dashboard, and it's giving me a nice little overview about what's going on, what are my maintenance plans, are there more maintenance with a different status? What is the status? What is also my costing? So for me, it's just October because I only have data for October now. But if I have it running for a couple of months, I will see a nice little overview about my total maintenance cost. And also for the material, I really see if it's connected with the work order, if the material is in stock, can I really start a work order? So it's just a single view in the dashboard, and this is just the standard one. So it's really helpful. So let's start with the maintenance. The first thing you normally would do if you're not having it already done is to activate the Beas service. So it's sitting under administration, utilities, and here we have the Beas managed server. If I open this one, see my Beas service is running, and what I want to have activated is my planned activities. When this is activated, the service will track all the changes and will also plan and maintain my maintenance schedules. For example, if there's a maintenance order in a couple of days, it will keep track of it and it will create the work orders, for example, and also the interruptions and that stuff. So be sure that this one is running. If it's not running, there's also a manual process to set everything up. But normally in a production environment, you would have that service running. Okay, so let's open our maintenance module. It's sitting under the service tab. Actually, there are also a few different options. These are the default SAP ones. From Beas, we have the internal maintenance, the external maintenance, and the maintenance orders that will give us an overview about all the maintenance orders that we have in our portfolio. So let's open the internal one. I have one scenario up here. Of course, you can have different ones, and of course, you would have a lot of scenarios because you will create one maintenance scenario for each of your resources or for each of your tools. So let's take a look at it, what we can set up here. Of course, we need a unique ID, the type, it's internal or external, description, name it whatever you want to. And a very important thing is this type. So for me, it's my resource. And what happens if I select a resource and connect it with the resource one? This maintenance will now keep track of these resources. So whenever I have a work order and I'm making a time receipt for a work order, this maintenance interval, it will keep track of the counter, it will count the hours, the usage of the resource also for the tool, and I can connect this one with my maintenance plan. And we will take a look at this one shortly. So in this window down here, we have a lot more of information. We can say, hey, maybe this is also an item, so I can give it more information up here. Is my resource maybe having a serial number? So it makes it easier to connect to an external service. For example, if I'm not maintaining it by myself, I can just order the service and say, hey, the serial number is 123 and so on. Contact, of course, I can also connect it with a business partner and with a supplier. So that's basically information that will help me to order a service. So let's take a look at our maintenance plans. For my example, I created two. One is my predictive maintenance. The other one is my preventive maintenance. So let's open the predictive one. And what we see here, of course, give it a name. And what I've done here is to check that the order recommendation is activated. This means that once the work order is created, it will also be in my MRP list. So I can plan with that work order. I have the bill of material, the routing, and an assembly there. So when a work order is created automatically in my case, because it can also be manual or it can be no creation, it will take the bill of material, the routing, or also the assembly in it, create a work order with it, and then I can create time receipts. I can use the material, and so I can keep track of it. Of course, you don't have to set these up, but in my scenario, it makes more sense, so I can see it in the MRP. Production type, it should be maintenance. If you haven't had it set up yet, it's easy to create a new one so that it's up here. And the before termination day, that's also kind of important because I've set it up to 30 days. So what happens with these 30 days? And it's basically also the same for interruption, by the way. These 30 days will create the work order. So 30 days before it will create it. So this means if, for example, I want to maintain it every month, it will just create it for the next month and not for the months after it. So why is this important? This helps you with handling the work orders. If you have no dates in there, it will create the work orders until the end. And then you have like 100 work orders in your work order pool list, and you don't want to see all of these. So it's helping you to keep your system small and simple. With the interruption, I already said it's also set up to automatically. So this interruption will also reflect to my resource capacity. So the interruption, for me it's reason 1, preventive maintenance. It will create an interruption from 8 to 13. So my system knows, hey, on that day, the machine is not available, so I only have the times left from that shift. Actually, I think my shift will close at 2 p.m., so it's just 1 hour left. But we will also see that when we take a look at the resource. So what is my scheduling looking like now? You see I have a few dates in here. I have a preventive maintenance, the predictive ones that are already planned, and also the preventive ones in the future. If I go on and take a look at November, December, and so on, I can see that the preventive maintenance is only there. Why is it only there? Because for the preventive one, I created, why isn't it opening? Because I'm in the predictive one. So what I've done with the preventive one, I created a repeat work order for it. So I said, hey, I want it every month on the first day. So that will create all the preventive ones for the future so that they are already there. But it will not create the work order and also the interruption according to my days that are set up here. And we are looking at the predictive one right now, so not the preventive one. So what happens to the predictive one? I set it up with my counter. So whenever I create 5 finished items, there should be a maintenance on it. Or if 10 hours are worked with that resource. Of course, normally your limits would be a bit higher, but for my example, it has some smaller numbers. Or it's also by 19 days. So it's even one of these options. The first one that has the limit, then it will start with the maintenance. So if it's 5 items and just 2 hours, the maintenance will start. And of course, it will reset the counter also for the hours because you've done the maintenance. And the same for days. So let's also take a look at the preventive one. So what is this one looking like? It's basically looking the same. I set it up for 90 days. And we will also see that in the resource because it's scheduled, the interruptions and the work orders for this one. Scheduling, it's the same because it's the same resource. And I have no counter here. And here it will just count up. 17 items was created. Since I created this maintenance plan, it was 144 hours. So let's open our resource to show it in the calendar. And we can see here is my interruption already. That's the one that we also saw in the maintenance calendar. And if I go to November, you can also see on the 1st of November, I'm also having just 4 hours. If I go on Friday, it's 1.3 hours because the Friday is not a full working day in my example. And if I go on, then we see, hey, at February, there is no interruption yet. That's cost of the 19 days for the, which one was it? I think the predictive maintenance one. So I have all this information already in the resource. And by this, the MRP and also the APS will keep track of it. So they know that the capacity is not there on that day. So you can reschedule work orders, or you can also reschedule the interruption if it's needed. So let's also see how the counter works. So it's for resource 1. And let's just open the counter so that we still know what's in there. So the counter right now, it's 2 hours, 2.1 hours. And let's create a time received for it. I will just select one work order with the resource 1. So let's take this one. And we will just create a time received. No parts, just time. Yeah, quantity 0. Time received has been created. And now let's go back to the maintenance plan, reopen it, and the counter raised up. Yeah, so the counter works. And now let's go over the 10 hours. So we will open that work order again. And now I'm saying, hey, I started at 6, 10 hours, 0 quantity, time received. And what we see now, okay, I've worked more hours than the planned capacity. So now my system will automatically create a maintenance order for this one. So I will just run the automatic task. That's normally done by the service job, but maybe the service job, sometimes it will need 1 or 2 minutes. So I've just started it manual. And if I now open my maintenance orders, I see here now that my newly predictive maintenance order was created because I've raised the counter for the 10 hours. So what I can do now with this one is, of course, I can start it. Oh, actually, I don't want to open the plan, sorry. Of course, I can start working on it, but normally what would happen is that we firstly take a look at the MRP with it. Actually, it's still one a few minutes ago. Of course, this work order is not there, but what I just want to show you is that I now have for my maintenance material, I have the work orders up in here so I can order the material because, like mentioned before, the material is connected to it, and so I can order it. Yeah, so now I could start working with that created maintenance order. I can stop the interruption if I finished it. Of course, we also have the option to work with the maintenance orders in here. So, of course, this one is planned for today, so I will just see it, but I could also show all. So I'm seeing also what's in the future or what's closed and so on. So this is just the one that we created. So let's open this one. And of course, it's also having a routing and a work order, so I could create time receipts on it so I can keep track of my maintenance guys. But we will now say, hey, it's in work, and we will now say, hey, we will close this because we finished working on it. When I close the maintenance order, it will also close all related documents. So it will also stop the interruption and I can start working again with the resource. And of course, it can be also a tool, it can be a customer equipment, it can be a serial number. So it's all up to me what I want to set up. most of the companies will do it for the resources on a, let's say, high limit, and for the tools, they need to maintain it a lot more. Those will be a lower limit. And well, if, for example, I have a machine where I need to change the oil on a monthly base and maybe also the filter in 6 months, I would have 2 different maintenance plans for it. One that is monthly and the other one that would be 6 months schedule, and it would have just different material in it. So we can work with this one. Yeah, so basically that's it about the maintenance. It's helping you to keep track of the machines, to prevent damage to it, and also to have it a bit like automated, because it's in the MRP, it's in the LPS, so you can plan with the material, with the work, and also with the interruptions.